In a world that worships perfection, she was chaos, a storm wrapped in glitter and eyeliner. Too honest for pop, too dangerous for silence. Before the fame, before the sold-out arenas and platinum records, there was just Ashley Frangipane, a restless soul from New Jersey who scribbled her pain into poems. She wasn't supposed to make it. She didn't look like the pop idols, didn't sing about pretty lies, and didn't play by the rules. But somehow she turned every scar into a melody, and every heartbreak into an anthem. From sleeping on rooftops to performing for millions, from heartbreaks that went viral to art that defied the system, Halsey became the voice of a generation that refused to be silent. So, how did a misfit poet become one of the most fearless icons in modern music? This is her story. Ashley Nicolette Frangipane was born on September 29, 1994, in Edison, New Jersey, a town that never quite understood her. Her father was African American, her mother of Italian and Hungarian descent, a mix that made her feel like she didn't fully belong anywhere. Home wasn't always safe. The Frangipane family moved often, chasing work and stability that never seemed to last. Bills piled up, tempers flared, and a young Ashley learned to survive by escaping into imagination, sketching, writing, and losing herself in music. At just 17, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, the same condition that would later fuel her art and nearly destroy her peace. In her darkest moments, words became her weapon. She began writing songs as confessions, pouring every ounce of pain into her lyrics. Sharp, raw, and unapologetically honest. But beyond the chaos, there was a strange beauty. A sense of purpose that whispered she was meant for more than the walls closing in around her. A misfit, yes, but one destined to make the world listen. And soon, the internet would hear her voice. One that would change the sound of pop music forever. It began in the quiet corners of the internet. A girl with blue hair, a cracked iPhone, and a story to tell. Ashley started uploading her songs to Tumblr and SoundCloud, not expecting anyone to care. But her words, raw, confessional, unfiltered, struck a nerve. One track changed everything. Ghost. It wasn't just a song, it was a cry of rebellion. A haunting melody that said what millions were too afraid to. Labels started calling. And when she walked into that meeting with Astralworks, she wasn't a nervous newcomer. She was Halsey, the name born from a Brooklyn subway stop and an anagram of her own. Halsey built her identity from the ground up, part poet, part punk, part survivor. She played small clubs, living out of bags, sleeping on friends' couches, performing for 10 people like they were 10,000. Her voice wasn't flawless, but it was real. And in an industry obsessed with polish, that imperfection became her power. With her debut EP Room 93, the world began to listen. Not just to the sound, but to the story. A girl who'd been told she was too much had just begun to prove she was everything. When Badlands dropped in 2015, it wasn't just an album, it was a revolution. An entire world built from Halsey's mind. Neon deserts, broken angels, and the echo of rebellion. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, making her one of the most talked-about artists of her generation. Then came Closer with the Chainsmokers, the song that turned her from underground muse to global superstar. Her voice, sharp and haunting, cut through the glitter of mainstream pop like a blade. Suddenly, Halsey was everywhere, headlining festivals, owning magazine covers, performing on the world's biggest stages. But behind the flashing lights and confetti, she was still that restless poet, fighting to keep control of her story. While pop demanded perfection, she offered honesty. While others smiled for cameras, she bled her heart on stage. Hopeless Fountain Kingdom and Manic pushed her deeper into art as therapy, exploring gender, identity, and heartbreak with brutal sincerity. Her songs weren't just hits, they were survival letters, and when Without Me topped the charts, it felt poetic. The girl who once slept on rooftops now ruled the airwaves. She didn't just find success, she owned it, crafting a persona both fragile and fierce. But fame is a double-edged sword. The higher she climbed, the louder the noise became. Tabloids, criticism, scrutiny, heartbreak. And soon, the spotlight that once lifted her would begin to burn. Fame didn't come without scars. As her name lit up arenas, her private life became public property. Every heartbreak, every breakdown, every mistake, magnified, dissected, sold. Her relationship with rapper G-Eazy turned into a tabloid storm. At first they were pop's wildest couple, electric chemistry, matching chaos. But soon the romance unraveled in front of the entire world. Cheating rumors, cryptic lyrics, emotional performances. It all played out under the blinding lights. And when she finally walked away, she turned the pain into art. Without Me wasn't just a breakup song, it was a declaration of freedom. Yet beyond the headlines, there was deeper pain. Halsey fought silent battles. With bipolar disorder, with endometriosis, with a body that often betrayed her. She spoke openly about her miscarriages, her trauma, her struggle to stay grounded while the world demanded perfection. For every award she won, there was a sleepless night behind it. For every magazine cover, a therapy session that never made the news. The media called her unstable. She called herself human. In interviews, she didn't hide behind PR smiles. She stared straight into the camera and said, "I'm not your manic pixie dream girl. I'm a real person, messy, angry, alive." It was the kind of honesty that made people uncomfortable, and exactly why millions adored her. From chaos to clarity, from headlines to healing. She was learning that rebellion isn't always loud. Sometimes it's surviving another day. After the chaos came silence. And in that silence, Halsey was reborn. Her 2020 album Manic wasn't just music. It was a mirror, a raw, emotional confession that stripped away the glitter to reveal the scars beneath. It was vulnerable, chaotic, beautiful, just like her. Then came If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power, a cinematic masterpiece produced by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. It wasn't made to please anyone. It was made to free her. The visuals were gothic and fearless, her lyrics unfiltered. An artist in complete control of her story. And then she became a mother. In 2021, Halsey gave birth to her son, Ender, calling him her greatest collaboration. Motherhood didn't tame her. It transformed her. She spoke about power, identity, and body autonomy with more fire than ever before. She was no longer the broken girl from New Jersey. She was the woman who took her pain, her illness, her rebellion, and turned it into creation. Halsey was no longer fighting to belong. She was the place where the misfits belonged. Her art was now her armor, and her legacy, already taking shape. Halsey's legacy isn't built on perfection. It's built on truth. She never asked to be a role model, but her honesty made her one. Through every breakdown, every rebirth, she gave a voice to those who felt unheard. The outcasts, the dreamers, the broken hearts hiding behind headphones. Her story is proof that vulnerability can be louder than any anthem, and that strength isn't the absence of pain. It's the courage to turn it into something beautiful. From poetry scribbled in notebooks to sold-out arenas, from silence to self-empowerment, Halsey has shown the world that art isn't about perfection. It's about survival. And as the lights fade and the crowd disappears, her words still echo, "I am not a hero. I am just someone who refuses to stay quiet." Halsey's journey reminds us that the truest rebellion is being yourself, even when the world tells you not to be. If you were inspired by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold journeys behind Hollywood's most fearless icons.